I was beaten to silence. I was beaten to low self-esteem. I was beaten to not being able to recognize the value that I can give.
Every time I saw this happen, I felt the need to protect her.
The damage it's going to have on their personality, on their self-esteem, on their brain development.
Sometimes, these parents, our parents, chose the easier. You are trying to convince yourself that you're correcting the child.
You are doing the right thing.
You are angry about something.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Truth and Tales podcast with your favorite host Victoria and
Yemi.
Hey. First of all, before we go into today's podcast, let me just take out the time to say thank you guys so much. Yeah. We reached 500 subscribers this week, so yes, I'm really excited. So 500 to go, okay? If you are watching this podcast and you're yet to subscribe, you are owing us a subscription, okay? So click on the subscribe button below so that you can be a part of this family, help our ministry, okay? So please click on the subscribe button.
Do that.
But thank you guys for as many that watch, for as many that share. So many people even send us DMs to say, to talk about the things they've learned, to ask questions and the rest of it. We are so grateful. Very soon, myself and Yemi will be doing a live video to address most all of your questions actually, right, Yemi?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, honestly.
Yeah, really so am I.
So you guys should subscribe so that we would have live option, 1,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Subscribe. Subscribe.
Yes, and those that have been asking us to bring the Ogas on this show, you want to hear the other side. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
We have something cooking for you very soon, okay? You'll be hearing from the misters on this channel, okay? All right, so yes, thank you guys so much. So today's show might not be the lovey-dovey, smiley video because we are here to talk about a very serious topic that I don't think, it's actually a very controversial topic. You know, people have different opinions and different views, and we want to hear what your views are about this particular topic. But I think personally, to me, it's something that we need to start to sensitize. Hey, Oyibo.
It's okay. It's not our first language.
Abi, my sister, that's what my husband always says. When he will say it's not my first language, it's not my mother tongue. Anyways, guys, so yes, it's actually a very controversial topic. People have different opinions about this, but we are here to share our own opinion, especially like this topic is so personal to me because anyways, I don't want to go into it until we start to go into it, okay? So it might not be the smiley, lovey, chatty video. It's going to be chatty. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting conversation, and it's actually very serious, especially if you're born in the African setting, especially if you're born in Nigeria, okay? This is one topic that you are definitely going to, most Nigerians or most Africans can relate to. So without talking too much, let us go to Yemi to tell us the tale of the day.
So I'm going to be reading the tale for the day, and it says, "Good evening. Please don't post my identity. My husband Keynes is 4-year-old and 2-year-old kids. His cane sometimes leaves marks on their bodies. I've pleaded with him to take it easy with them. He saw me taking pictures of the cane marks he leaves on the kids, but quickly deleted them. Just recently, he beat the little boy and I asked why. He told me he will slap me the next time I complain, that I shouldn't question him when he is disciplining the children. But is caning and leaving bruises on the child the only way? Please advise."
Obviously, number one, it's not the only way. Actually, I don't even think it's anyway. Don't let me start to get, because I'm beginning to get very upset. Okay, on her question, it is definitely not the only way, and I think she knows that. That's why she's actually fighting with him on it. So definitely, it is not the only way. But let's just get into the video, right? So we are talking about beating a child, caning a child, flogging a child, whichever language you understand, right? Especially in the African setting. So we'll just be sharing our own opinion about this issue, or this issue that this lady has, spoken about. She actually spoke about it on a platform that that I belong to. I think Yemi also belongs to the platform, and people have given her their advice and everything. But we just want to share our own maybe experiences, maybe advice on what's on this particular issue and how it affects us, especially women and female, and even male, not even female alone, even children in the African setting, okay? So let me start with Yemi because I'm too passionate about this topic.
Yeah.
What do you think about corporal punishment? Anyways, don't let, and listen, I know some people might come to the comment section and say, oh, you don't have a child yet, that's why you're coming to blah, 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 blah. Yes, I'm not talking from the angle of a mother, okay?
Yeah.
Yemi is a mom, so she'll be able to give us that balance. I am talking from the angle of a child. Yes, you have boys. And I am talking from the angle of a child who has been through that. You know, that is the angle that I am coming from. And, you know, having friends, having colleagues, having people around me who have also been through that kind of a treatment. Okay, so that's the angle I'm speaking from. So please, in case you are tempted to come and type something that will not make sense in the comment section, please just take that as a disclaimer, okay? But Yemi, let's start with you. What do you think about, you know, flogging a child and beating a child and the rest of it in the aim to correct or to punish the child?
I think that this conversation is actually going to be very balanced because, like you said, you're coming from the perspective of the child now, and I'm coming from the perspective of the mother or the parent in this picture. This is me talking from a mom. Personally, I don't have that experience of extreme flogging. I can count the number of times my parents flogged me, and that's from my mom and from my dad. I can count the number of times that, you know, they did flog me. But I did see, like, I experienced this firsthand myself. I saw it, and I'm not the only child in my family. Okay, I have 7 siblings. We are 8 children, and I'm the second child, you know. So there are other children that will probably say differently. They have a different opinion. But for me personally, I can count the number of times I was flogged, I was beaten. But I saw it. We have a particular child, and I feel like in the African home, there's just this child that is at the receiving end of this flogging. You know?
Yes, ma. You're preaching to the pastor here.
Yes, exactly. And it's just like in a typical, so someone who is not familiar with the typical Nigerian, let me not say African now before they come for me, but in the typical Nigerian home, you know, in the average family, I dare say that, you know, most of the millennials that are out there, the millennials from the average family, a lot of us grew up or are still carrying our childhood trauma around. And most of it comes from, you know, flogging and, you know, it's either verbal abuse or physical abuse, which is flogging, or sexual abuse. A lot of us, I don't want to give specific statistics right now, but I know that a lot of us are carrying childhood trauma around, you know? So I have seen a case, like examples of flogging children to influence their behavior, to correct them in one way or the other. And I can say that it doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. It's just you abusing the child. It doesn't do anything. Now, coming from me as a mom now, you know, talking about this issue, I don't think beating is the way to correct a child. I don't think beating is the way to influence a child's behavior. Now, I have 2 boys, just like this person that wrote this tale, just like the tale we read out. I have 2 boys. I have a 5-year-old. I have a 2-year-old. Now, the funny thing is that both of them have different personalities, and I'm very, very parenting is a big deal for me, honestly. And I feel like parenting is something that, you know, God saw you, God deemed you fit, and He gave you that responsibility. So it's something that I don't really want to feel. And I think that, you know, we have to do things differently from the way our parents, you know, raised us. There's a lot, you know, there's a lot of, like, it's just a lot. It's a lot. You know, I don't want to go into details yet.
I think we'll come back to our parents' style and why they probably did what they did, okay? But let's still, I know you were talking about, you know, you coming from the approach of a mom, and I was really, because I actually love your boys, like, I don't know, like, I actually love the way you, like, I love the way you interact with them, the way you, even when you're correcting them, you understand. I mean, at least I've seen you correct them several times when we are talking and the rest of it. So yeah, and I really admire the way you handle them. But yeah, don't let me cut you off.
No, the thing is that I also have a naughty cane. I actually have a naughty cane that I in the house. I call it the naughty cane. So when they are misbehaving, I say, I'm going to bring the naughty cane for you. They already know that I'm trying to, you know, talk about. I'm going to flog you right now. But then, when I actually want to correct their behavior, that cane doesn't work, especially for my younger son. His personality is, it doesn't even scare him. Cane doesn't scare him. Until he lands on his body like this, it's not scared. And he will still do what he wanted to do. Even after taking, he will cry, he will shout and everything. And the thing is that I'm trying to correct him from doing something wrong. And then I flog him. And then he's angry that I'm flogging him. So he will cry for that moment, and then he will go back to doing what he wanted to do just to spite me. That's my younger son. Now for my older son, he is just so scared of cane. He doesn't want anything to touch his body. It's just the, you know. And sometimes I worry that if I scare him too much, I'm going to put him in that place where he's always trying to do things to please me. So there has to be like a balance, because he's scared of cane. He doesn't want anything touching his body. He just likes to be, you know, like in the best behavior at all times. Just so, you know, and I know that for him, words affect him. So if I say I will not be your friend again, he takes it seriously. So there's no point using cane on him. But sometimes I still flog them, but it's not the kind of flogging that you flog a child that you would leave marks on that child. It's not that kind of flogging. The kind of flogging that when I flog him, he knows exactly why I flog him, because every time, and when I mean flogging, I don't mean the kind of, not extreme flogging, like, give me your hand, you give me the hand, I'll use my cane, pam, pam, pam. Not the one that will just out of anger, just start to slap, beat, no. There's no reason, there's no cause for alarm. Like, so those little flogging, he knows the reason why I'm flogging him, and he would come back most times to say, Mommy, I'm sorry for doing this, I'm sorry for doing that. And when he says I'm sorry, I remind him of the reason why I beat him, and he doesn't do that again. But that approach still doesn't work for my second son. No matter what, it doesn't work. You are correcting, he knows the reason, he will go back to doing that thing. So I think that flogging does not really do anything. It doesn't help a child. It doesn't correct a child, especially in this 21st century, where children are exposed to the way things are done in the Western world. They watch movies. It doesn't do anything. And when you beat your child out of anger, I feel like all those beating that they said they were training us, I feel like it is beating a child or flogging a child out of anger.
Honestly.
The thing with anger is that anger builds on anger. So most of the, I don't want to go into our parents yet, but I feel like most people that beat their children that way, that there's so much marks on the child's body, and you are trying to convince yourself that you're correcting the child.
You are doing the right thing.
You are angry about something. Then the child does something, and then it triggers your anger. It makes you more angry, you know. So anger builds on anger. Whoever is trying to justify beating a child that way, molesting, something is wrong with that person. The person is angry at something else, and is trying to, you know, something else just sparks that anger, and you're just frustrated and you beat a child anyhow, because nobody in a sane mind will beat a child mercilessly, leave marks on a child in the name of trying to correct that person.
Correct.
Haba. You can't do that to my child. I'm sorry. I'm even the parent that is very stubborn. My husband complains that I don't play with the children enough. He's not even into that lifestyle. Although he's very disciplined, he doesn't want them to misbehave, especially because they are boys. He would always tell them, you know, I'm going to use the military training on you. You have to behave yourself, and they will laugh over it. But I've never really seen him flog the child. But when he's serious, and they know it. So I don't think that, you know, you have to.
I think there's an influence that fathers usually have, you know, on their, especially on their male child, right? There was something I was actually reading on Instagram today. A woman posted on a timeline, and she was like, there's something about the way male parents or the men parents their children that we all need to learn. She said, and I'm going to say the way she said it, here I am, shouting on my child to sit down in one place and eat his dinner, shouting at the top of my throat for the past 30 minutes, and his father just walked in, carried him, sat him on his chair, and told him to sit down there and eat his food. Until now, as I'm typing, he's still sitting there and he has not stood up from there. You understand? So we women, we are used to always having to, you know, shout and do stuff, maybe because of the closeness, you know, the see-finish that comes with it. Yeah.
You know, for that one, I think the thing is that most women shout because they're already stressed. Like for me, when I shout, when I do this, do this, I'm already stressed and I'm calculating about the number of things. You know, men, I don't know, from my own observation, men are usually focused on one thing. They don't do this multitasking thing that women do.
Yeah.
So a woman will get up in the morning and she's thinking of how to prepare the children's lunch box. She's thinking of the breakfast they're eating. She's thinking of, okay, the fact that they shouldn't be late. The man is thinking of, I'm going to work only. So the woman is like I said, anger somehow, a little spark of anger.
You know, you are not wrong.
Builds on anger. So if the woman is stressed, if there's a little bit of stress in her, it will reflect in her attitude. It will reflect in her tone. So she's stressed out. So she's coming off as constantly complaining to the children. Eat your food. Eat, do this, do that. They are the you know, the mothers are the ones that the children sees all the time complaining, and to the child you are nagging. You know, complaining, talking about this, that, and somebody that doesn't complain says, sit down. They have this feeling like I must have done something wrong, so they just have to obey. And the man is also not stressed. It's coming from a firm, he's using a firm tone, but also, you know, being serious. So I think it's also like the stress, because at least for me, I know that when I'm stressed out, I just, you know, shout, do this, do that. But my husband will come and say, okay, sit down, and they will sit down. You know, so I think it's just like that case of, you know, things building up, piling up, and, you know, women lashing out. But there could be other reasons. This is just my own reason, you know. There could be other reasons. I
also think, I know it was the same for us, like, and I think it's because, you know, women are very much involved in, and that's personally based on my own experience growing up. The mom is always the one involved mostly in the life or upbringing of the child. The father is only there once in a while. Most times when the father comes in, is always, you know, fathers are usually the good cops, okay? We women, or we mothers are usually the ones who discipline them, who know when they are wrong. Who, you know, when the father comes, is bringing ice cream, and that was like the case for me when I was like much younger. You know, the father is the one coming, you know, who is not really there when you were being naughty, but when he's around, he's, you know, holding you closer and stuff. I don't know, but you know, that's not what we are here to discuss about. You know, it's part of it, but I don't want us to really derail from the, you know, the exact thing we're talking about. And I actually started jotting down things when you were talking. I had to take my pen because there were lots of valid points that you were raising that I can definitely relate to. First of all, when I read the story, what really breaks my heart is this child they are 2 years old. One of them is a 2-year-old, the other is 4-year-old. Like, I just kept thinking, like, a 2-year-old child, what are you beating that child for? Like, to me, how it comes off to me. I know kids at that age can be brutal. Okay, don't even get me wrong. Like that, my niece is she's only 1 year old now, and every time I call her, the mother is always frustrated. Like, she's always throwing things, spoiling things. She has spoiled her father's gaming pad for like I don't know how many times right now. She does a lot of things. And that's because she's still learning, okay? She's learning through, you know, when she touches something and it hurts her, she knows tomorrow not to go there. When something happens, you know, that's the way, they are still in their developmental stage. Their brain is still developing at that point. And if you are not careful, and I'm talking from, you know, research and psychologists, you know, things that they've said about, you know, especially when your child is from 0 to 2-year-old, if you are not careful, you can totally kill that child's personality. You can alter that child's personality if you are not careful by the way you treat them in that age. If you're already using cane as on a 2-year-old, beating them to the extent of leaving mark on their body, the damage is going to have on their personality, on their self-esteem, on their brain development at that age is actually very high. And you don't need to take my word for it. You can research it by yourself, okay? However, talking about this, you know, this issue of beating your child in the African and Nigerian setting especially, I really feel like, I don't want to go into, because we'll talk about our parents, where they were coming from and the rest of it, but I think we cannot actually run away from it because that's where I am speaking from, you know. Yes, you know, we always give them the excuse that, oh, they only did as much as they know. And I still believe it because when they were younger, the only thing their parents knew to do was to beat them and the rest of it. But I just feel like we have gotten to an age right now where we know the effects that this thing has on children. We know the effect it had on us. You know, and in as much as our parent can, you know, and we ourselves can even justify and say it's because my mother beats me, that's why I did not do certain things and the rest of it. But that is one of the reasons why we don't take risk. That's one of the reasons why the white people, they are advancing, because they are trying things, they are failing, they are trying, they are succeeding, and the rest of it. They are not afraid to take risk. But the reason why most Africans, we are very I don't know, we like anything security. We like anything that keep us, that we don't like to take risks. We don't like to, you know, do anything, because fear and anxiety has been put inside of us from childhood that is still developing and is still hammering us till now. You know, personally, I was beaten a lot, okay? When you're talking about problem child. I was the definition of problem child for my mom, right? I'm the third child from my mom. I have a elder sister and a younger brother. I am the middle child. I know I keep using past tense. I am the middle child, and when I was growing up, I was the one. There was hardly any of my birthday. Like every of my birthday, the ritual is I must do something that will make me to be beaten severely, okay? And even apart from my birthdays, most times I was always beaten because I don't know, I was always lashing out as a kid. But the truth is that many people don't understand that, or what my parent or my mom, and I won't, like, the blame is not on her, and I will tell you why I'm saying it, okay? Yes, the blame is on her, but it's also not on her.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the reason, you will understand as we go on. But at that point, nobody was talking to me because more or less my mom is the one who, when we became like 10 years old and above, it was just my mom, you know, we growing up. My dad would come in every once in a while and the rest of it. So my mom was literally the one who was responsible for paying our fees, for, you know, putting food on the table, for ensuring we have clothes to wear, for ensuring that, you know, we are well behaved in the house. She had a full-time job, okay? She had a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or 8 to 6, sometimes even having to sleep overnight to do night duties and the rest of it. So, and she was literally the only one. There was no house help. We cannot even afford. We can't even afford a house help and the rest of it. So, and we grew up, and to make everything totally worse, we grew up in the barracks. And if you know reputation or the reputation of growing up in the barracks, if you're a Nigerian, you will know that growing up in the barracks is the worst place your child can grow up. Like, the worst place. Trust me, I still have friends to today that we grew up together in the barracks, and they are still in the barracks. Either, you know, they just missed their way. Some got pregnant, some became prostitutes, some became this, some became that, just because they did not have that. You need to hold your child with the iron hand. That's how the iron fist, you know. That's how they usually describe, you know, overly, you know, disciplining your child. But so and there was no father figure in the house. Usually when your father figure is, when there's a father in the house, he's able to call the people to order. But one problem also with, you know, being in the force or in the Air Force or in soldier or whatever, what they call it, force career that you are, is that you are not always in the house. You're always on posting. You're always in another state, which was the case for my dad. You know, since I was 10, I can hardly count how many times my father was in the house. You know, it was always on one posting to one state or the other. So it was literally she was only the one who was responsible for every responsibility. And she was the one who was, you know, responsible for the financial responsibilities at the time also. So yeah, it was a lot for her to be able. So, you know, that's why I was jotting a lot of things you were saying, because it was so accurate. You talked about anger. You talked about, you know, the way, you know, something has happened to you. Sometimes you are frustrated. Sometimes I've come with bills from school and you are frustrated because there is no money. You have to think of how to make money and the rest of it. And one child is sick and one child is giving you problem and the rest of it. And because of that, your child mistakenly does something that triggers you. We are human beings, okay? We get upset, okay? But I still feel like maturity, right, is you being able to control your anger, because everybody can lash out. Everybody can lash out. What makes you different or what makes you mature is your ability to control it. But again, absolutely, at the time, the only way they could lash out, and with all the burdens that she was carrying at the time, that's why to today I don't really blame her for a lot of things that happened. Number one, I know that they didn't know better, or she didn't know better, and I also know that the responsibility and the challenges that she was facing at the time was enormous. I cannot even imagine, you know, having all of that. So this is to say that yes, I grew up being beaten. Like, oh my God, like there was hardly a week that went by. If a week goes by and I'm not beaten, I'm not talking about beating, I mean serious beating. Then maybe God really loved me that week. I was mercilessly beaten as a child. Even in school, you know, it was so worse.
But do you think, let me ask you, do you think you had anything to do with how much you were beaten? Do you think like...
Oh, I did. Nobody in their right sense will just be beating a child anyhow. Of course, and I said it in the beginning that I was a very problem child. But I also think that the problem that I had was because I didn't have anyone to vent to, anyone to talk to at the time. Remember I said my mom was. Remember I said Remember I said my mom she was quite busy trying to make ends meet, trying to make sure that we are okay in the house, she was literally the mother and the father in the house, okay? So she was usually busy, okay? So when she gives us instructions, okay, that's what she does. When she wants to go out, she give us instructions. When you come back, do this, do this, do that. She talks to us. Okay, or she talks at us rather, but not to us. I don't know if that's correct. So especially as a person going through puberty, and you know, I'm talking about when I'm beginning to enter into my teenagers, because that's when, thank God for God, you understand, in my life. There are changes going on in your body. You are having hormones that you don't understand. You're having mood swings. You know that you're supposed to do something, but you are not just feeling like doing it, you know, at that age, because of certain things that are going all over your body that you don't understand. Okay, so you're starting to make friends that are not really good influence. Okay, and all these things are happening. You know from the background that you are brought up, that you know that you have, that this thing this girl is asking me to do is wrong, but she's doing it and it's working for her, and I don't really have anybody to ask or anybody to talk to, you know, about this and that. So you end up going with that, and it lands you into trouble. And then your mom, instead of trying to understand why you decided to take that decision, why you decided to do that thing that she has asked you not to do, she doesn't discuss with you. There's no conversation. It's not we have conversation with children. The conversation is between the cane and you and your body. You understand? So you end up going that way. You end up being beaten. You end up. And, you know, there are a lot of points you made that I said I noted down. You talked about, you know, beating your child will only make them spite you. And for the longest time, me and my mom had the most difficult relationship. Like, literally, I go months. When I left the house, I go months without calling my mom on the phone. It's not because I hate her or anything. It's just because that upbringing did not allow me to form the kind of close relationship that I'm supposed to have with my mom. I don't know if you understand. But when I was younger, when, you know, I make mistakes, she beats me, she does not care to understand why I did it or what caused me to do it. Or, you know, you also mentioned something about when you beat them, they know why you are beating them, and they come back to apologize because you let them understand. But sometimes I'm beaten, I don't even know what I did, honestly. You know, I don't even know what exactly I did. And sometimes she's beating me for something that I know I am right doing it. I might not be right, okay? But I don't know better. I still feel like this thing I did, there's nothing wrong in it. She's just beating me because she's angry. Because she did not sit me down to tell me why exactly that thing I've done is wrong. So tomorrow, guess what? I go back and I do it. And sometimes I'm not doing it because I want to do it. I'm doing it because I just want to make her angry more. You know, and when you get to teenage years, you know what, where beating now becomes a problem is when the child now gets used to beating. Because trust me, I was beaten at home, I was beaten in school. I have an elder sister that was always the prize child. Yes, if she's watching this, she knows. She was always the prize child. She was always the child that she can never do anything wrong. She can never be, like my sister was always gentle, okay? And at home, it was that bad at home that everybody, like my mom, it was almost like she was the firstborn, she was the gentle child, and the rest of it, that's her personality, okay? My younger brother was the only boy. He can never do anything wrong, okay? So I was literally, I'm not the first dad, I'm not the first girl, I'm not the only girl.
No ranking.
So I don't have any ranking.
No ranking.
So I always felt like I did not have enough attention. Attention was not placed on me. But to be honest, the attention was not placed on either of us because although lesser on me, to be honest, like let's just be frank here, but my mom did not really have the time, you know, in between trying to make sure that we have a good education, trying to make sure we are able to eat and all of that. She didn't really have the time to also be present with the kind of things that was, you know, the demand that was placed on her, okay?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm in therapy.
But honestly, do you know this is something that I say a lot to my husband, that a millennial growing up in an African home, you need therapy. Let's forget it. They beat you, they didn't beat you, they treated you. No, everybody needs. No, they need therapy. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, African parenting, they need therapy.
You know, I would spite her because of then I would go on because I didn't even think that what I was doing was wrong. I had friends that were doing worse and their parents were not talking, were not even, you know, they don't even mind them, okay? So I always thought, like, why is my own different? Like, why does she not understand and the rest of it? So I ended up doing the wrong thing over and over again because I didn't have anyone to talk to. As a teenager growing up, you know, she was, I mean, it's not like I had like my mom was actually a fantastic woman when it comes to, I mean, I cannot even imagine a lot of things that she went through just for us to be able to be where we are today. Like, she went through a lot, and if it's not for my mom, like, I would not even be anywhere close to where I am right now. Like, I will not be. So I'm always grateful for her. But that was just one place, one aspect that, you know, growing up, you know, she wasn't really able to give me what I need in that part of, on that time and that aspect of my life. So I realized that now, growing up, now I've left my mom, now I'm in school, now I'm working and the rest of it, and I realized that I'm struggling with low self-esteem. I realized that we'll be in a boardroom or be exchanging ideas, and they will ask a question, and I have answers to that question, but fear would not allow me to say it. Then somebody else will say the same thing I was thinking, and then everybody will applaud her, and I'll be killing myself throughout the day or throughout the week. You know, and it began to affect me, and I could not trace why am I like this? Like, I know I am intelligent, I know I have a lot to offer, but why am I not doing things? Why am I afraid to take risks? Why am I afraid to talk, to say my mind? It was so bad that even in my friendships, okay, I was always the one that was lacerated. It's only when people needed me that they came to me, because I always had something value to offer. But I was never that friend that when they are going to club, I didn't use the club anyways. You're not like. But when they are going to have fun or something, I was the one that they never called on. That's why till now it's really affected my friendship. I don't know how to make friends. I don't know how to go to you and say, come and be my friend, or how to initiate friendship, you know. I did not know that growing up, because when I was growing up, I cannot make friends. If I make friends, I'll be beaten. If I talk to somebody that my mother doesn't know, I'll be beaten. If God help me, one guy mistakenly stopped me on the road to ask me for directions, and my mother sees me. You understand? So I got to realize that, you know, I was unable to speak up. I was unable to do certain things that I can do. And for a longest time, I did not understand why I was always like that. Why in the midst of friends, I'll be timid. Why, you know, I'm a marketer, but when we go to conference and I'm supposed to be networking, and this was then, I mean, I've had to work on myself, you know, since then, but I will not be able to network because I will feel like every eye is on me. Like, I will feel so inside my shell. I didn't get that. I didn't understand why until I started to read about, you know, psychologists, articles, and children upbringing, and how it affects them and how it shapes their lives, you know, in the future and the rest of it. Before I realized that this is the reason why. This is the reason why I am so shy, I am so timid. This is the reason why a lot of dreams I had as a child. Because as a child, I was a very active person. I was always talking, you know. I wanted to be an actress, wanted to be this, wanted to be that. But I grew up wanting to be just an office person. I don't want to do anything. You understand? So I got to realize that it was because of my upbringing. I was beaten to silence. I was beaten to low self-esteem. I was beaten to not being able to recognize the value that I can give, to being shy, to being timid, and the rest of it. And now I'm paying the price for it. You understand? So I don't understand. And listen, I know people have their different way of bringing up their children, okay? And I don't know. I'm definitely going to make my own mistakes when I start bringing up my own children, okay? Yeah. But one thing that I definitely want us to take away from this video, apart from us ranting and me doing like say I'm in therapy and the rest of it, is that there are lots of ways. There are a lot of ways. There are 1,001 ways you can correct your child without using the rod on them, okay? The Bible that says spare the rod and spoil the child, be spoil the rod and spare the child. I don't even, you know. The rod is not only a rod. We all know that there are a lot of things in the Bible that does not literally means the thing, okay? The rod is not necessarily the rod. Your mouth can be the rod. I grew up to an age short, and thankfully, okay, when I went to my teens, my mid-teens, my mother realized that, see, this cane thing does not work. I don't even know when she started. There was a day. I think my mom actually realized that because of the way she brought us up, and just like I was telling you, that it created a wedge between us to the extent that if my mom is sitting if I'm in the living room, my mom comes to sit here, I will stand up and go to the bedroom. That was how it was for all of us, not just me, my sister, my brother, because we were always scared of her. You understand? We were always afraid of her. So she now realized that, okay, that this was becoming an issue, that we weren't talking to her, we're not playing with her. And so now, if you see me and my mom, like, we play a lot and all of that. So there was a night, I can never forget that night. I don't think I can ever forget that night till the day I die. She called us, it was in the middle of the night, around like 2 a.m. or something. She woke us, all of us up, and then she called us to the room, and she sat us down. I remember I was sitting on the floor, my sister was, you know, my sister, my brother, and then she asked us that, what exactly does she do that makes us to be so afraid of her, that does not make us to be open to her? We could tell that she was like, first of all, we thought, this woman want to trap us. You think it wants to trap us? Imagine, we were thinking that this woman this is what chance. She wants us to say something that will make her to beat us. That was literally what we were thinking. But later we understood that she was actually feeling bad that we don't open up to her, we don't talk to her, we don't play with her. When she's around, we don't send her, honestly. It's not like disrespectful, though. When she said go and do something, we do it and we leave, you understand? But we don't interact with her because that was the way we've been brought up to be. Because all our life, we've been told to shut up, we're told to sit down there, we're told not to talk when she's talking, not to do this when she's doing this. So what is going to change now? Like, what is going to change? So, and then she realized that, and then she called us and she asked us. And I remember that night we lashed out to her. Like, we forgot about everything. I talked, my sister talked, my brother talked, and we told her.
Your time must come.
Hey, we told her, like, we said certain words to, I mean, even when your parents is telling you to talk, there are certain words you don't say.
Exactly.
Because from there, she will start to, discipline you, but, we told her how we felt. We told her how we always felt like she didn't love us, how we felt, how she was always, beating us, how we were never able to express ourselves to her, how, we have friends who have parents that don't talk to them that way, and the rest of it. And I remember, she actually, you could tell that she actually broke down. She didn't break down in front of us, but you could tell that she was actually broken by some of the things that we said to her. And I remember that was the last day my mother ever used cane on any of us. Like, that was the last day. I was 15 or so. It was quite late, but thankfully she learned her lesson, because I cannot imagine if this went on and on until we left the house. Trust me, as at that age, I remember there were times when I was younger then. I remember a day, I went to my father and I told her, you need to tell me who my mother is. This woman is not my mother. I literally told him that. That was how bitter I was as a child, you understand? I remember there was a time, and my mom would always, maybe when I do a video, my mom was one of these days, she would say, there was a time that I wrote in my diary, I wrote so many things about my mom, how wicked, how this, how that she is, and all of that. My mother read the diary. I was not good with hiding it. She read the diary, and you know what my mom did? She turned the pages and she wrote her own. About me, about my character, about this, about that. She wrote her own. And then eventually, I think that was one of the things that actually triggered that conversation that we had. So yeah, but I got to, one thing that actually made me realize, that made me come to that realization that it was because of my upbringing, was because in my place of work, I have people that were active. But when they talk to you about their childhood, they have this when they talk to their parents, even at that time, they're always so close, always so, when they talk about their childhood, they had a very open childhood where they could talk to their parents about anything. I didn't have that. And then I started to read books, I started to read articles, and I realized that, so this is where the problem starts from. It is a root problem, and you get, so that's why till today, and I still pray to God. I know it's not easy, and big ups to all the mom out there, even our own moms, you understand. I know it was not even easy in that time, because of some of the things that our parents had to go through to be able to ensure that, we even have a life, had a good life. Because on the other hand, I think I'm going too far. You just talk before because I feel like I've spoken too much on this, because I want to also talk about, because I also had friends, as a teenager, that their parents don't beat them, their parents don't send them, okay? Whether they do anything, they don't do anything, like, I had a friend that her mother would tell her to talk, say, "Mom, please leave me alone. Who bought me well? Who is my daddy?" Who bought me well? You understand? But when I see those children now, when I see them now, okay, I am grateful for the kind of upbringing I had. Even though there are things in my upbringing that I would definitely change. But the problem with our own time is that the parents that were not strict, they are the extreme of the other side. They completely leave their children. They are constantly going from one and bed to the other, one party to the other. They don't care what their children are doing and the rest of it. Yeah. And the ones that were overly strict were too strict. I remember a girl, a lady now, she's a woman now. When I was younger, her dad was so strict to the issue. Her mom died. It was her dad who was so strict to the extent that when he's leaving the house, he locks them inside the house. They don't step out. I'm telling you, they don't step out. They don't do anything. That was how strict the father was. Do you know that inside that house that the father locked them, this girl got pregnant? Guess what? Their neighbor got a spare key to the kids. So whenever the father goes out, he opens the door, they go in, they do whatever they want, he closes the door and everything. So the father in his mind, thinking that he was protecting his children, not knowing that you're not exposing them and teaching them and telling them what to do and what not to do, was actually allowing any Tom, Dick and Harry to come and tell them nonsense, and then they will fall. So you understand? So when I was growing up, they were the parents that they were not strict, and those were the parents that we were admiring. Or I rather was admiring as the OGs, the go-to parents and the rest of it. But when you see the lives of their children today, I don't envy it. I don't even envy it anywhere close to it. Yeah. So you understand? So the extreme, nobody's saying that don't discipline your children. Nobody's saying that leave them and let them just do things and let them get away with it. No, that's not what we are saying. We are saying that there are several ways, there are several punishments that you can actually give to a child, to correct the child. I remember I used to think, even till my adult years, that any child that they did not beat as a child is going to be wayward. Until I met a few people in my life that they've never seen cane in their life. But the punishments that they have seen, even me, I have not seen. So you see, there are several ways you can correct a child to make the child understand. I got to an age where my mom, I started wishing my mom would carry the cane and beat me. I started wishing because she changed strategy. She stopped beating us, but when my mother sits you down and talk to you, you'll be crying like a baby. Honestly, you'll be crying like a child. You'll not be wishing that you carry cane and flog. You could flog me now, you understand? So yeah, sorry, I know I've spoken too much, but like I warned you guys before we began.
No. Yeah. I think it's very important because I feel like most Nigerians, most people that grew up in Nigeria have that experience. So it's something that everyone can relate to. Yeah. So yes, it's not even about like really talking too much. That's what the podcast is for, okay? If you just have to listen. But yeah, as you were talking, and even in relation to the tale we highlighted, remember the woman said that whenever she corrects the man, he cautions her and he tells her not to say anything again, or else he's going to slap her.
Imagine. That man is an abuser.
The man has anger issues.
Honestly.
Obviously.
That's what I was going to say. That was one point I was going to say about parents. Most parents that do this, it is bullying. Because as an adult, if we're in our workplace, I'm so sorry, Yemi, but if we're in our workplace and my colleague is doing things that my children are doing, or my colleague is making me upset, and I get angry to the extent I get angry to the point, sorry, there's an extent your child will offend you and you get angry to it. If it's your colleague that makes you angry like that, do you carry cane and beat your colleague? No, nobody teaches you. Nobody tells you, but you submit yourself. It is your boss that make you that angry. You don't carry cane and flog your boss. There's a way you will communicate. There's a way you will try to make sure the person understands what you are saying. Why can't you do that with your child? Why can't you look for ways to talk? It is bullying to me. Honestly, it is. And it is anger. Sorry, Yemi, please go on.
Yeah. So I think that the man has like traits, and not just him, because he's not even the target now. It's most people, well, let me not say most now before they come for me. But that's like the typical, for the average person, that's what you see a lot with the men, Yes, I want to discipline my child, I want to do this, don't tell me trash, is that how you want to do your own thing, blah blah blah. And for a woman, no matter how much a woman will discipline her children, she will not do something that will leave marks. Or, well, I don't know, Sha, but I feel like, just as you were saying, the pressure on these parents at the time makes them, to do things. I remember that, as I said, I did not have that kind of, experience. And the thing with beating your children that way is that it's either there are two impacts, two ways the thing could go. It's either the children, like just like your own experience, like you lose your self-esteem, you do all of that, and then it affects you in the future, and it affects your confidence, or that child becomes angry too.
Come a problem child.
It's either the child loses the self-esteem. The child is constantly trying to please you. She becomes a people pleaser, or he becomes a people pleaser. Constantly trying to be on your good books. Constantly trying to not get flogged, or that child becomes extremely angry. And that's what we see in our society. We either have more people who are very angry, and we have people who are lack self-confidence. Like, those are the majority of the people we see, especially with the women. Even the men. Like, it's either in those two. But with the male child, you see them on the other side of being very angry. And with the female, you see them losing their self-esteem. So usually it's between those two ways. And then the thing parents don't also understand is that when you excessively flog a child, it's not just the impact will not just be felt. Like for me now, I wasn't flogged that way. But every time I see some of my, and I wasn't flogged because I was a very brilliant child. Like, I didn't read. I wasn't like, I used to read books, but story books, but I don't have to read like school books before I know what the book is. Like, I was just very brilliant. And so because I was brilliant, I always was on the good books. Like, I couldn't do anything wrong. Like,
my sister.
You can't do anything wrong. Like, even till today, if somebody tells my father that when I was in uni and they say, oh, I saw your daughter in the club, he will say, no, it's not me. It's probably the other sibling. It's not me. It can't be me. That's how much trust, because I was just brilliant. So I feel like sometimes our parents chose the easier option. Even when my dad is very angry because my dad raised us, like unlike your case that it was your mom, mine was my dad. Okay, my mom died quite early, and even before she died there were issues like in fact I didn't even grow up knowing my mother was my mother.
I think we'll do a video of childhood trauma where we share
honestly
we share personal experiences. Because it looks like the similarities between our upbringing and our present life is almost like, anyways.
No kidding. I'm honestly, I don't know that a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
So my dad raised us. So even when he's very angry from work, there's just something that tells him that you can't beat this one. Do you understand? There's just something that comes in, even when I do something wrong. And I wasn't really, I won't say I was really rebellious. I was just very calm and I was interested in the things I was interested in. And even the other sibling that was being beaten, she was also very calm. The issue was that she wasn't as brilliant. So when you're trying to get a child to be brilliant, to level up to a certain extent, and she's not doing that, and I'm very stubborn. I was brilliant and very stubborn. My sister was not brilliant. She was calm.
Stubborn. Okay.
She wasn't even stubborn. That's the funniest thing. She wasn't stubborn. So on her own case, the effect it had on her was she was constantly trying to please. She tried to please, tried to do anything. And for me, the impact it had was that every time I saw this happen, I felt the need to protect her. I felt the need to protect her. So all through adulting, I never worried about my own problems. I always felt that the problems I had were minor. I never worked on my own problems. I never thought my own problems were big. I always felt the need to protect her because she didn't have anybody to protect her. I remember there was a time that she got low grades in school and, my dad was like, I'm going to beat her, I told him that, okay, you shouldn't beat her now, that the next term, if she gets low grade, you should beat me instead. And then she did get low grades and then he beat me instead.
Can you imagine?
So, honestly, I'm not looking back and I'm saying, why did they chose the easy way by beating, by trying to flog. They chose the easy way because you could have the same treatment you gave me that I had, a reason to. There was something in your mind that tells you that, oh, this one should be beaten. If they thought that flogging was not an option, they would have found another way. They just chose the easy way. So their parents, they're saying that, oh, it was what our parents did. Was it everything their parents did? Their parents did not go to school. Did they go to school?
Exactly.
Their parents were farmers. Did they decide to be farmers? They just chose the easy way. It was just convenient for them and they chose it. It's just like, somebody trying to, I'm here with, something just came to mind. It's just like somebody trying to paint a picture because what they say is that they want your future to be bright. I'm training you so that your future will be bright. Now, somebody is trying to paint a beautiful picture now, I want this picture to be beautiful. I want to take it to the gallery. And then I put my paper on the whatever. And then I look around me, oh, watercolor is very popular. Watercolor is common. It's easy to get, you can easily go to the supermarket and get watercolor instead of the usual artistic paint. And then I can't carry watercolor. Watercolor and paper don't match. You can start painting. It will look nice in the beginning, but over time it will tear. That paper will tear, and then your painting will be messed up. All the training for the future, everything. Eventually, you tear that child apart. You don't do anything. Like, there's nobody will tell me that you witness flogging at that highest level, that, there will be marks on your body. Some parents will beat the child, put pepper on the child's body and say, I'm trying to... I don't know what kind of impression
I know, my mom never went to that extreme, but I know a colleague. God, I know children in my primary school. There was a girl, I can never forget that girl. I can't remember her name, but I can never forget her. Even if as I'm talking to you, like I can still see the memory of that period. Our mom used pressing iron. That's the extreme that our parents used to go to. And she's not the first I know. I know the ones that they will use blade to tear their body and put pepper before they use koboko on them. I know a girl, this girl, she came to school the following day. She could not sit down. Nobody knew why she couldn't sit down. I think her name was Yanu. I cannot remember. When they opened her body, pressing iron on your child, not your own child. That was, and if you saw the way the mother was justifying it, she stole. So she stole. Why did she steal?
So they want to.
You didn't ask why she stole. You didn't ask, was it that you were hungry? Exactly. Was it that something was wrong? Why did you steal?
Exactly.
And you couldn't see any way to correct her. You used pressing iron on your child? No. As I'm talking to you like this, I'm still angry. This happened like over 16 years ago, but I cannot erase that memory from my head. I can't.
It's annoying.
I know children. I had friends that their parents tied them on the ceiling fan. Tied them and flogged them. What did she do? The highest crime a child committed at that age was stealing. Okay, it was stealing. But even a thief that they caught that use gun like to not kill, but I went to armed robber. You should not be disciplined. That will not talk of your own child.
It's just extreme.
And you come and defend it and say because no, there's no defending. Any parent no. Anyways, let's go on. Sorry, please go on.
There's really for me, parents that did it, okay, but my point is that they chose the easy way. That's my point. And another thing is that they didn't see parenting. I understand now that they didn't know better, but they did not see parenting as something. They have children because they want a child that will. Children was something that would give them
carry
joy.
Their names, yes.
Yeah, carry my name. Yeah, this one. Children was something that adds value to your life. So you have children because it's joyful. So when the child is exhibiting certain behavior, it doesn't. You're not seeing.
It's not meeting up to your expectations.
It's not meeting up to your expectation because you had that child so that the child can. Bring joy to your life. So if the child is going through growth and developmental stages, because it doesn't go well with you, because there are times that, okay, I will see I bought a flower, and for his birthday, so after the flower, I just packed it somewhere that, okay, I'll use it in the future. He brought out the flower, and then he skinned it, like he removed the flower from the stick, from the stalk, what do you call it, and then he was just playing, and he was using the flower to fan himself, and I'm not like, why did you call it? Why did you destroy it? And then he was telling me, that's like my first son, Daniel, said, I didn't destroy it. I was creating a fan.
Can you imagine?
I immediately wanted to give him slap. But then I now told myself that, but he just told you that he didn't destroy it. In his mind.
He was recreating
I don't think there's
something.
no 2-year-old, there's no 4-year-old that will intentionally want to remove value from your life. Intentionally want to, because they are not that smart. The level of, some people will say that, oh, that child, if you allow them one, they'll do another one. If they allow them one, they'll do another one. That is a child trying to, rate you. The child is just trying to see, oh, what is she going to do? That's cause and effect. The child wants to know the consequences if I do this thing. If you scold, and the child will feel like, okay, maybe I can get away with do it again, you scold. So what parents need to do is just to be consistent in scolding that child, not to harm that child in one correction. You have to consistently, because even we ourselves, we treat children as if they are adults. My son is very big, like Daniel is very big, he's 5-year-old, but sometimes I want to beat him. I'm like, I remind myself that this boy is a child. If he was smaller in stature, it wouldn't be this big. So I think that's another reason people have children, because they just want the child to have like an effect, and then so anything the child does, you see it as the child's fault. I beat this boy because he's doing something wrong. You don't see things from his own point of view. You have seen the world in a way that things should, the way things should be, the way it should have an impact on your own name, and you're just like, okay, this is the way things should be, and you have to do it this way. So if the child, based on seeing things in his environment, and the way the child's gene and everything is, and tries to go out of this thing, you want to correct. It's not everything that our parents corrected us for that is
wrong. Yes.
It's not everything.
It is
They
not.
were just correcting based on their own mindsets, based on their own. It was not everything that is wrong, So so even from the tale and everything, they just chose the easiest way. Like, there are other ways that they could have corrected us back in the day. The mindset they had was that, you know, we are their property. We have to follow their rules. And so we did not have any reason. Like, you have to follow the rules. You have to do as your parents say. So there was no thinking outside the box. There was no, you just have to stay in the, you know, the commandments and the rules of the parents.
Yeah, you know, there was one word you just used that made me, like, parents at that time thought like we were their property, just like what they said. But to be honest, we are not their property. They are just caretakers. No. Okay? They are just, and when you understand that you are a caretaker, like you are here, they are here for you to be able to train them to be somebody's wife. They are here for you to be able to train them to be somebody's mother. You would be more intentional rather than training them as they are your property. They are for you. You own them. You understand? Yeah. That just talk.
Yeah. And yeah, it's very important. And this is something that even before I even got married, I bought a book on parenting, Good Parenting by Pastor Nikki Adeyemi. Before I got married, I just saw the book. It seemed like a small book, easy to read, Good Parenting. And I was just like, okay, let me just read this book. It was then it occurred to me that parenting is a task. And this is something I still pray about every day, that these are human lives. These are two lives that has, you know, God has given you to raise. So you want to be very intentional about it, because it's two people's destiny. You don't want to raise, I mean, that's what they did with us. Somebody's self-esteem, you shattered it, shrink everything just because you thought. So I think that if there's anybody that has gone through this phase, although this is not really what this episode is about, we just want to, you know, talk about, you know, if we just wanted to answer the question that was raised in that tale, you know, whether flogging children is the only means. But at the same time, we have answered the question. We have, you know, agreed that, or we have highlighted some points to show that that is not the only option. But then if there's anyone listening that, and, you know, maybe that was your own reality, or maybe that is still your reality. And, you know, as I was even surprised to hear that you said it was about, you know, when you were 15 that your mom decided that, okay, I'm not going to. I'm like, till 14, you were still receiving cane, you were still being flogged.
Well, 18 I have cousin that at 21, they still had cane in their house. They still receive cane. I'm not joking, no.
Wow.
I'm not joking.
You can imagine. So, and you know, in a foreign country, a 15-year-old person, 16 is almost the time that person is going to leave home. Yeah. Can you imagine? And you are still flogging, you know, because they have this mindset that they're just going to raise this child to go and fly, to go and soar in the world, you know. And okay, so what I would just say, if there's anyone in that situation, that whatever it is, whether good or bad, whatever your upbringing was, as you grow older, you have to get to a point that you would redefine yourself. Which is why I love what she said and what you did, that, you know, you started to read books, you started to read articles on why are you like this? Like, what is the problem? I know I'm smart. Why do I keep quiet in important places? Why do I hide my value? Why am I so fearful and everything? And then you realize that, oh, this is the problem. And now you knowing the problem,
help me to
you now
work
know how to correct it. Yes, you now even give your parents grace. You now forgive them, because you also understand that it's not just, there's a problem. The problem is beyond even what is happening. Because even for them, because I also feel like, you know, some of these parents too, in their defense, they were also figuring life out on their own. And they were just following, you know, societal principle, standard. You know, when you do this, finish, go and marry. When you marry, have children. They just thought of it as a flow. They never really thought about. And then in the middle of that, there were also things that they wanted to do. You know, because I remember that my father used to tell us that in his life, he just wanted to have 2 kids.
Imagine.
And here he is today with 8 kids. And I'm the second. And I'm the second. You know, so there were probably things he thought about before he said, I just want to have 2 kids. And now he's with multiple kids, and he's the one trying to figure out, you know, how to do things with these children. So if he's stressed out, he has to, you know, unleash anger on the children. This one that is not stressing me, I don't need to beat that one. You know, but this one that is giving me a little bit of stress, which is not stress, is that child growing. There's no time. So, but you get into that phase of, you know, redefining yourself. You were able to even forgive. You were able to let go. It wasn't so much of a big deal holding on to those things anymore. You now have a better understanding. You know, you could give grace. So I think it's very important that whether you had a good upbringing or a sour upbringing or not so great upbringing, we all need to get a point that we begin to redefine ourselves. You begin to, you know, whatever it is that your parents has taught you, the environment has taught you, you have to get to that point that you will now sit and say, oh, which one do I want to carry on? Which one do I want to let go? Which one do I want to unlearn? What do I need to add on? Because no matter the era you were born, times are changing. I was born in 1991. I grew up, I was a teenager in 1990 something. Now I'm 30, I mean, this is 2000 and something, and things are completely different. I have to change, regardless of the upbringing I had at 1995. Things have changed.
Yeah.
So whether good or bad, it is your responsibility to redefine yourself. So if you are in this situation that you know that, beating on anything has affected you, just know that even if you had it very good, you still have to redefine yourself. So now that you even had it not so good, you need to do more work. That's just it. So I think it's very important that, just don't accept this as your life.
Exactly.
Just redefine yourself. So is there anything you want to add?
Yeah.
Just to...
Yeah, I think I love the point you said about you need to get to the point where you understand and you stop the blame game. I had the option of just blaming my parents and say, that's why I'm like that. Okay, so that's the way I am now. Okay. No, I learned, I unlearned, I relearned. I learned self-confidence. I took training. I took courses. I took classes. Anything to be able to help me to gain back my confidence. It's still a work in progress, but I am far ahead of how I used to be after I left secondary school and the rest of it. So yes, we keep on learning through life experiences. Your parents also, like I said, we know much more, way more better than they did, okay? I think the very first day I had that conversation with my husband, something I've always wanted to have with my husband, I was watching Alma Ungo or something on YouTube here, and I just love that family. Not just her, like her mom, her brothers, the way they are closely knitted. I absolutely love the relationship between them. Right? And one day she was talking to her mom, and the mom was mentioning the fact that she never used cane on any of them. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, they are responsible children. They are responsible children in this life. And that they are responsible and they never flog them. I remember that was the day I had the conversation with my husband, and we had that conversation. And yes, we still had in most of it, we agree in most of it. But it really opened my eyes to that it's not until it's a myth that until you beat your child, if you don't beat your child will be spoiled. It's a lie. There are a lot of ways that you can help your child. Nobody's saying that you leave your child absolutely to be doing whatever they want and be making excuses for their bad behaviors. No, call them to order, punish them, ground them. Spank them every once in a while when you have to, okay? But beating, nobody's saying that don't beat your child. Nobody's there to give you parenting lessons. We are all still learning and still going. But I always feel like anything that make you beat your child should be the very last option, okay? Should be the very last option. Try and, like Yemi said in the beginning, try and exhaust the other options, okay? Before, let beating always be the very last thing that comes to your mind. But for our parents, beating was always the first thing. Okay, it's when they are tired, maybe they feel so tired they don't want to beat you, they now start thinking of which punishment should they give you. You understand? But when a child does something, the first response was always to use cane, and that should not be it. Okay, you'll be killing your child without knowing. You are killing the gifts and the things that God has placed in that child. And remember, you are not their owner, you are only a caretaker. They are going to leave. You are raising somebody's child, you are raising somebody's wife, you are raising somebody's mother, you are raising somebody's auntie, you are raising somebody's boss. Okay, so raise the way you have been treated, the way you've been treated in the corporate world, the way you've been treated in your house, in your growing up and the rest of it. Use that as a lesson and train your child to be better. I see children now, that parents talk to their children like they're talking to adults. Try to correct them. This is why you don't do this. This is why you don't talk back at adults. This is why you don't, whistle in the house. This is why you don't do this. And the children understand. And I think one of the issues is also that parents feel like children are so daft. The only way they understand right from wrong is when you beat them. But the truth is, most of these children, they are wiser than we are. We just need to impact the knowledge that we have on them, for them to also have wisdom, for them to be wiser and to be able to do better. You will see children on YouTube, on Instagram now. There's this girl I love to follow. I cannot remember her handle, but every time she comes back from school, she always has a story. I just absolutely love listening to her and to see the discipline that her parents has imbibed on her and how she even carries it out in her school. You understand? That is not a child that was beaten. Sure, they are never allowed to beat your child in America. You will go to jail. Okay? That's one other thing I always say, that if in Nigeria there was a law like that, won't parents find an alternative way to bring up their children? They will find an alternative way. If in Nigeria it was a law that you cannot beat your child, you will go to jail. You will find another way to correct your child. So look for another way. Look for an alternative.
I realized that the more I beat him, I realized that when he's angry with his brother, the first thing he does is to hit his brother.
Because that's
so
what he knows. You're not just
preventing something, but you're also, yes, that's what he knows. So you're also putting in something that did not come with the child into the child, because that's what they know. And everything the parents will always find a fault in the child and say, this is what you did, that's why I beat you. But everything a child knows
learns it from somewhere.
Is what they see you do.
That is so true.
It's even from the families, from
most
the home,
times,
because we are always constantly with whatever you do and whatever the reason, whatever it is that you see your child do. I mean, there was a day I looked so good. I don't even know. My son Daniel just said, "Oh, mommy, you look beautiful today. Maybe daddy is going to hug you when you come back." And I was like, what's this? And he just say, whenever you look beautiful, daddy always hug you. I was shocked. I was completely shocked.
Imagine.
So if he goes out there and he sees a beautiful girl now, he'll probably go and give the girl a hug. And then people will be wondering, and the girl's mother will probably be beating and be thinking, this one is a prostitute or anything. But that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's the truth, because every time I have to tell him whenever he says that even if daddy hugs mommy, you shouldn't hug another girl because she's beautiful that way. You have to ask, because those things can go south either quickly. So I'm not like, okay, but everything you see your child do,
she learns it from somewhere. Especially at that tender age.
If your child is exhibiting bad behaviors, they saw it from you. Yes, all our parents wanted to do was, somebody said something that rules without relationship equals rebellion. They wanted to give us rules without having a relationship with us, so we become rebellious.
I like that.
I think it was in Tosin Labi's video. I think one of her videos, I can't remember, but I know she was on. I heard it from her video that rules without relationship equals rebellion. So, that's one principle.
I'll go and write that somewhere in my house because that's actually a very good nugget, and that's what I was saying about growing up, how our parents talk at us. They don't talk to us. You understand? Exactly. Because when communication is not complete, I'm a communication student, and I always tell my husband this, even when we're having disagreements. I say that communication is not complete without feedback. If you are talking, you are just talking at me. If you don't wait to understand what I'm saying, for you to be able to understand my own part of it, then we have not communicated. And it's the same thing. You are not communicating with your child if what you are doing is giving instructions and giving rules. That is not communication. That's you just doing a military rule in your house. Okay, so I think and that's my advice to parents, to adults. You just have to learn how to get back your confidence, or whatever scar that must have left in you. Don't carry out that anger on your own children, because that's how it happens. That's how it happens in our parents. It's what their parents did to them, they are doing to you. Okay, don't carry that anger. Let it be a lesson of what not to do when you raise your child, or when you become a mother, and the rest of it. So don't beat your children out of anger. Whenever you are angry, you understand, even the Bible says, I don't even talk when you are angry. Okay, not to talk of carrying out beating on a child when you are angry. You can kill a child by beating the child out of anger. I know there are many times my mom, then she'll be frustrated from work and stuff, and she beats me and she'll be crying. She's the one beating me, she's the one crying. I can remember more than 2 instances that happened, because she was frustrated. And I know it cannot be because I went to play outside. That is not the reason. There's something else. It can't be because I collected biscuits from that auntie. That's why you are crying and beating me. There's another reason. Okay, don't beat your child out of anger. Don't let anger make you impose. You are just going to, and when that child grow up, you might not even have any. The child will resent you. Okay, imagine me at that age asking my father, who is my mother? This woman is not my mother. So imagine. So please don't do that. Thankfully, my mom was able to retrace her step quickly, and we're able to start to build before I got married. But imagine if that was how it was when I left the house and then I got married. We would almost not have any relationship. You understand? So that's my own advice. So I know we've ranted a lot in this video, but thank you. If you watch this far, you are the OG. In short, if you watch to this end, put it in the comment section that you watched to this end. Okay, you might win a giveaway. Let's give a code.
Let's give a code. You can. You never know. So if you watch it to this point, just write in the comment section.
Write it that you watch it to this point. Yes. Just put I did. Yes, just put I did. It's a sign. Yes. Only us know. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And I actually feel a lot of you actually watch our video like today. It's like very long, because even when we check our watch minutes, our average watch hours and the rest of it, it's actually even longer than it is in our personal channels. So thank you guys so much. It means so much to us, and we are grateful. Thank you for your comments. Like, they're really amazing. God bless you guys. Thank you for the DMs and the messages you send. It makes us know and feel that we are actually making impact, because that's what this channel is all about. So yes, this video we might not dividing this video into 2, because
it will be one way. It will be one way. They will listen. And I feel like if you guys also want us to do another episode on, you know,
yes,
childhood
because I don't
trauma,
think we've exhausted it.
Yeah, I don't think we did justice to the, you know, we're just so focused on the parenting part of it. But if you guys really want us to do a video on, you know, dealing with childhood trauma, or you want to hear stories about our childhood or anything else, you know, relating to this topic, let us know in the comment section.
Yes, let us know.
We'd love to you know, do that for you guys. So thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
We'll be signing out now. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, you know, and all that good stuff. And then we'll see you guys in the next
video.
Bye for now.
All right, bye.
Bye.